From Major Terrence Zero O'Hearn. Subject: forward, reply, request for any information.
Remember me saying I was going to try and contact my father and see if he knew anything about alien contaminants being discovered on any of the wreckage? Well, I have to admit the speed stunned me. He responded, I've directed the first part of the docs Dad sent me through the ICIS official bureaucratic machine. Should be to you soon, as late as tomorrow. The second part won't clear until next week, according to him. All I have to say is that we better watch our ass on this one. Well, that, and if you ever call me Terry, I'll kill you. My dad writes a better lead in than I do. Read his letter before looking at the docs. Sweet dreams, Case.
Original message to Major Terrence Zero O'Hearn from M.O. Dr. O'Hearn. Subject: reply, request for any information.
You want me to send you information about any possible alien contaminants that have been discovered due to examination of wreckage. I have a few items that you're cleared for now. However, being my son, I expect you to not be shocked by any of what you discover. Discover the truth and cloud the motive. Dangerous idea, son. Although I know you are aware of that. No matter what your opinion on these matters are, rest assured they are being taken care of. Any losses will be minimized as soon as the scope of the crisis comes into focus. Consider this response to be an eyes-only heads-up on possible threats to your mission. Enough with the protocol. I have a jump to make in 3 hours. Inefficiency is born of haste, and there is no crime in that. Disasters have a way of happening, the worst being ones we see coming. The untenable self-assumed position of nature's controlling moderator has provided us with a terrible addition to our shared vision. We now see reasonable responses with unreasonable requirements. In this case, we all know that gathering, tampering with, and reclaiming materials of unknown origin without proper evaluation can well have horrific implications. Case in point. In 2304, when the biological agent known as Malacriaox's bite destroyed the Io colony, strong-willed truth seekers rose up to blame the scientific community for the disease. Government officials were being accused of negligent genocide following the reduction of containment standards that led to the plague. The government was wrong in relaxing standards. But in retrospect, the incident would have occurred either way. Human nature is an unfortunate commodity in the blame business. The ingestion of hazardous materials in a mineshaft airlock is as age-old as the act of mining itself. The usual 3-stage decontamination had been reduced to 2, which was still shown to be effective at detecting and erasing any known biological organism or derivative thereof, and an organism comprised of a previously unknown makeup managed to slip through. Everyone knew that by removing the third, and most costly, stage, they would be able to maintain the war effort as well as colonization during the third incident between enemy factions within the Confederacy. They also knew the possibility existed of a disaster. They expected the mining concerns to comply with the scanning requirements of each newly exposed mile of soil before beginning the actual mining. They understood that they would never be able to regulate all of the mining operations closely enough to verify that the mining companies weren't just glossing over the scans to get to the treasure inside. The war was won. They managed to push us further into space and improved upon their process along the way. This new situation is a far more basic testament to the human ability to kill yourself while trying to get ahead too quickly. Any silence is to keep needless panic from breaking out amongst border worlders, mercs, corporations, and Kilrathi. You have the clearance to see these materials, and it is assumed you are one of the few to understand the importance of trustworthy silence. Of course, you can show this to anyone else with similar clearance. Just keep in mind the sensitivity of the issue. I, myself, am not allowed to give any further situation-specific personal opinions on the matter due to the classification of the studies I am engaged in. However, I have attached the transcripts and correspondences taken from Commander Silver that you are cleared to see. It should come in 2 pieces. The first should have arrived and the other probably won't clear for a week or so. It isn't that much, but I believe it will clear up any questions you have. Sorry, I just realized I lectured you. You understand my thoroughness, I hope. You can hit me when you see me next, Terry. The next correspondence can have nothing to do with anything serious, okay? I mean it. Fly safe, and please contact me after this matter is resolved. Love, Dad.
T.C.S. Cerberus, Captain Report 2681.82. Good work, people. We're on our way to Cygnus. As you learned, we now believe that the aliens are massing for a strike against Sol, a strike against Earth itself. Here in Cygnus, we will be attempting to divide what we believe is the main thrust of the alien force. If we can push them out, bust them up, and make them fear our presence, we will have gone a long way to ending this conflict. Our efforts have proven fruitful. Your work on the Midway has obviously prepared you for the fight, and you have risen to the situation marvelously. If you can keep it up, you'll all be relaxing on some beach somewhere with a drink and a smile in no time. Keep it up in Cygnus. Now we all know that Cygnus is known for its SAR and our facilities, and the civilian presence has the potential to be very high. I don't want to see any more innocent Scott dead in this conflict, so consider it a high priority on all missions to respond to any and all distress calls you get. Now, I don't want you to babysit anybody. We just need to keep a lid on this thing, and that lid is about to blow off. Any civilians that get caught up in the conflict need to be properly debriefed so we can maximize containment of any panic. Expect mission structure to be focused on deep recon, support for any vessels that might need it, and strikes against any concentration of aliens that is dumb enough to show its slimy face to the Cerberus crew of cold-blooded killers. Now get out there and make your species proud.
Reports have been filtering into the staff here at ISDN that vessels have been disappearing, firefights have taken place, and that the alien menace is with us and closer to home than we would like to believe. Although unavailable for comment, both Governor Cavazos and Admiral Ryak have stated numerous times that the alien presence is negligible at best and merely the as stated by Admiral Ryak. Straggling remains of a defeated fleet. Straggling remains has not been the picture we here at ISDN have received from civilians living in the Vega sector. Reports indicate that firefights have broken out in the outlying systems of Inio, Gateway, Eddings and others. Several civilian transports and research vessels have been reported missing over the last 2 days. These reports, combined with eyewitness testimonials and recorded transmissions, indicate that the alien presence is indeed still with us, and in numbers that threaten the safety of spacefaring travelers. Although official reports indicate that these incidents are due to a combination of the increased pirate mercenary reclamation presence and straggler alien forces, the increasing number of encounters is cause for concern. Stay tuned here at ISDN for up-to-date information. This is Peter, ISDN correspondent.
Just read the document. I don't know the details, but it sounds bad. I want a thicker flight suit. About the name thing, don't worry, Terry. It's our little secret. I won't let anyone know, Terry. Promise. So did you have a little wagon or something with your name painted on the side when you were a kid, Terry? It's always good to have dirt on a ranking officer.
Informational Supplement 31J6 Section 1. Partial transcript of Dr. Benbow's General Assembly address on possible alien toxicology issues. Correspondence seized from Commander Leonard J. Silver. Partial transcript from the meeting of the General Assembly 2681.76.
The chair now recognizes Dr. Maria Benbow, Director, Confed Disease Control. Doctor, you have the floor.
Gentlemen, I shall keep this short. I believe that we are facing a potentially serious contamination threat. The following correspondence was retrieved from Commander Leonard Silver's encrypted files after a tip from one of my staff. Please review these documents carefully.
Commander, the following communication was intercepted on 2681.49, 1535 by our RE6 listening station in the T-Line Meth system. It originated from the Hispaniola, a deep space salvage freighter based off the Cephron space station. The transmission indicates a possible breach of security.
Okay, Hawkins, let's take it nice and slow out there.
Roger that, Hispaniola. I'm moving the ferret into position now. Damn, this one's almost completely intact. If we can get this back to Sol, we can make a fortune.
Careful out there. Sensors show that the environmental controls are still functional.
Energy readings are nominal. There's not enough juice left in this thing to sustain a cockroach. I'm closing for a closer look. It looks like the ship's drive is intact. Should we try to remove the drive here?
Negative on that. Let's just tractor the whole fighter on board. We can strip and store anything valuable and flush the rest. Jackpot. Boys and girls, if we can get this stuff past customs, we're gonna be retiring early.
Roger that. Returning to the Hispaniola.
My team is currently tracking the Hispaniola. She appears to be making directly for Sol. Please advise. Lieutenant Israel Hans.
Clearance pending on additional information request. From Major Carl Spider-Bowen. Subject, reply. Forward, reply, request for any information.
I've seen some of this. I'm going to find out more. I know one of those guys. One of the dead guys. Sorry about the nickname Terry. I'll let you know what I find out.
Confederate Tread. An editorial by Robert Brindle. Seems every month or so now the Terran Confederation has a new toy they unveil under the guise of protecting the public. First it was the Vesuvius-class carrier, the carrier to end all others. Next it was the Midway, a super carrier that was just about self-sufficient. Now it is the Cerberus, a vessel shrouded in secrecy and classified. Go no further press releases. How many of these ultimate weapons are enough? Now I'm not a citizen who doesn't appreciate the strides the Confederation has taken to protect the well-being of all humans and allied races in the known galaxy. I just think we need to begin examining the need for constant military development. A drain on resources for many years' time. The latest batch of corporate Confederation joint ventures seem to be pushing the envelope for subsidization of private enterprise for military purposes. Let's face it, the Kilrathi War was great for business. Millions died and thousands became extremely wealthy. With the end of that war due to the heroic actions of the now-departed Colonel Christopher Blair, the Confederation was faced with a budget designed for warfare. Hurston Dynamics, Bardic Industries, and the Ginter and Combine all owe their powerful place in intersystem commerce to the work strife generates. Let me reiterate that I am not attacking them for this. If it were not for the radical advances in engineering and production that came from these concerns, we might not have won the war. However, we must now begin to focus our efforts at stabilizing the distribution of resources from the military to the developing worlds at the fringes of Terran influence. Our quest for resources to sustain the production of war machines, be it the mineral mines of System or any of 1,000 asteroid fields in the mineral-rich system of System, is a familiar scene. It harkens back to a time when sections of Earth were strip-mined to exhaustion in order to fuel the military corporate alliances that almost destroyed the developing nations at the fringes of a developed First World. Need I mention the WEC? The toxicity of the once fertile system of pollen is not unlike the destruction of the island once known as Java due to gold strip mining practices. Although my words are not the first written about the subject, and far less eloquent, allow me to provide this one cautionary note during our revelry over the recent victory versus the alien menace. We must examine, explode, and expand our current notions of interstellar expansion. Although we may face a threat as great as the Kilrathi again, or as flash-fire fast as the mysterious alien strike against our interests, We must never lose sight of what we are fighting for. Otherwise, we may be fighting for the sake of fighting, and celebrate our protection of systems devastated by our presence. Let us not become that which we despise. Let us crush the real enemy. Apathetic acceptance of an antiquated system of priorities.
Personal log 2681.84. I wish I were a Marine. Less babysitting, fast results. Of course, you're usually dead a lot faster. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. We pushed into Talos and made it through, currently en route to Cygnus. Supposedly, we'll be helping to drive a wedge in the alien forces. I don't know about that. I feel like a pebble in a dam that's got more than a few cracks. There are still reports of civvies out there acting like idiots. Zero promised to deliver some info on the alien virus that makes me feel very uncomfortable. Supposed to be more on the way. Good bedtime reading. Jesus. I'm glad I didn't let the captain down in Talos. Only so many escorts you can run before you start wondering how many sects you could be burning if you weren't playing watchdog over some transports. Only so many after that until you start acting on those impulses. These new weapons would have been a welcome addition during the first offensive. Mosquitoes have saved my ass a few times. Maestro is bragging his head off, taking credit for as much as he can smirk to the women about. Even Spider seems to be in better spirits. We're all feeling the strain, though. Shift length is ridiculous. The captain is trying to run this tub like a full-fledged carrier, with a third of the crew. I hope we can maintain under this pressure. I have to remember to bug Maestro about what he had in his quarters. I know he's tanked before he ever meets us at the bar. This isn't fair, and he's afraid of facial injuries. I think I better go speak with him.